We're back with episode 3 of Bodyweight Exercises for Jiu-Jitsu, where I'm going to walk you through 5 exercises that can be combined together for a very effective workout to help improve your BJJ performance. Today's video is focusing on getting that heart rate up, just like we do when we spar. Now, don't get me wrong, I think sparring is the best method for improving your BJJ cardio, but if you have a session that you've missed or you want to add a little bit on top of what you're already doing, these workouts are going to be perfect. And the best part is you can do them anywhere. So I'm going to take you through all 5 exercises, showing you exactly how to do each one. I'm going to slow the video down when details matter. I'm going to talk about each muscle that each exercise hits, and I'll also talk about how each exercise correlates to BJJ performance. It's going to be an informative one, and I think you're going to like it. So without further gun bumping, let's jump in. First, number 1, single leg burpees. Whoever invented these is definitely from hell. These things are a pain, but guess what? They get our heart rate up, and that's exactly what we're aiming for. If you've been training jiu-jitsu for a minute, you know that sparring gets your heart rate up. And sometimes if we can't get constant sparring, it can be difficult to achieve that cardio stamina that's necessary to perform well on the mats. Well, guess what? You're in the right place, because now you have this exercise to do if you miss a sparring session, if you miss a class. You can do this anywhere. So getting back into this burpee variation, you will notice it looks a bit like a standard burpee, except I'm staying on one leg the entire time. This will help activate your core on a much harder level. Balancing and stabilizing on one leg is going to make your core work overtime when compared to standard burpees. Also, as you can imagine, jumping up on one leg is also extremely difficult. Jumping down to one leg to the push-up position is very difficult. This is going to get your heart rate up. You're using muscles in your lower body that are large, and you're using them in a way that's a little bit harder than you would in a standard burpee. So those muscles are going to require more blood flow, more oxygen. They're doing more work, and the end result is your heart working harder, which is exactly what jiu-jitsu does to us, especially when we spar. You'll notice as I jump in the air, I leave my hands above my head, and on the way down, you'll see that my hands hit the pavement before my foot does. This just makes balancing a little bit easier since you're touching the ground with 2 points first instead of 1 point first. So make sure when you're doing this, you're landing on the ground with your hands first, followed very quickly by your foot. As we jump up, try not to look down at your feet. You want to look straight ahead. This might feel difficult at first, but trust me, if you keep doing it, it will get easier. This exercise is not only going to hit your quads, your glutes, your calves, your triceps, your shoulders, your chest, and your core, it's going to work on the explosiveness in all of those muscles, which is an obvious win for jiu-jitsu performance. Trust me when I say if you've never done these before, they will be difficult. Don't let it discourage you. Keep trying it. Remember, you're a white belt at this. You're a white belt at single leg burpees. You have to be forgiving of yourself when you make mistakes. It's not a reason to quit. It's a reason to do it more and get better. I want you doing this one 3 sets of 10 reps per leg. All right, exercise number 2, archer push-ups, and I'm giving you a bit of a cardio break on this one. Not only because it's necessary, but because pushing at awkward angles is something that happens a lot in jiu-jitsu, especially when you're trapped on the bottom in mount. If you've been training for a while, as you know, you catch someone in mount, a new guy's going to try to bench press you off, which in turn gives you a beautiful setup for an armbar. But there are several escapes where instead of benching straight up like a beginner would, we're pressing off to the side while we're moving our hips away. And bench press doesn't necessarily help us in these situations. We need to get better at pushing at strange angles, sideways angles, diagonal angles. I want you to pay attention to what my hands are doing here, specifically the hand that is extended away from my body. As I press down to one side, the other hand that's extended out turns in line with my forearm. If I don't do this, not only will I have the proper support to complete the exercise, I won't have the wrist flexion necessary to get my chest to the ground. If you're having a hard time doing this one, doing it from your knees is acceptable. And if that is still too difficult, you can just do regular push-ups or regular push-ups from your knees. It doesn't matter where you need to start, as long as you're just doing something, you can work your way up to this. We will be activating our chest, shoulders, and triceps along with some core, but I want you to keep in mind that that extended arm isn't locked out. I'm using my bicep to keep it rigid, so we are activating some biceps here, which is pretty cool because that is a difficult muscle to hit without any equipment. For this, I want you doing 3 sets of 10 reps each side. Exercise number 3, knee up jump lunges. And we are back to getting that heart rate sky high. As you see here, I'm starting in a lunge position, but I'm jumping. And as I raise my right hand into the air, I'm lifting my left knee. Just make sure you aren't lifting same side arm, same side leg, because that will feel awkward. It's going to throw your balance off. Giving you a different angle to check this out. Pay attention to how my back leg is the one that comes up. As I propel myself off the ground with my planted foot, my back leg comes up, pushing my knee into the sky. As I'm doing that, my opposite side arm also reaches for the sky. I want you to take this as an opportunity to work on your breathing. Breathe in on the way down and exhale hard on the way up. Obviously, you'll be getting bonus points if you can perform this entire workout with nasal breathing alone. We are using our whole body in unison here, which is again what jiu-jitsu is. We're using multiple body parts at once in unison. This will take a little bit of coordination, but once you get it down, it's pretty easy. Your focus here should not be to jump as high as possible, but rather to be as coordinated as possible to allow all the moving parts of your body to work in unison in a controlled, effective way. Even though this specific movement doesn't directly correlate to any kind of jiu-jitsu move that we do, the fact that you're working on your coordination is a huge plus. If the ground that you're standing on is something soft like lawn or mats, you can let that knee slam into the ground. But obviously, if you're on something hard like pavement, hardwood floors, whatever it may be, try to touch, but try not to be too aggressive on that landing. I almost like doing this on a hard surface because it requires more control. You can't just let yourself slam into the ground or you're gonna hurt yourself. If you've never done this one before, I'm gonna recommend that you choose grass. But if you're athletic or you've done this before, feel free to choose a hard surface like pavement. Our main muscle groups we will be activating here will be quads, glutes, calves, and a little bit of shoulders. This is going to be difficult, but I want you doing 3 sets of 12 reps per leg. All right, up next, exercise number 4, standard burpees, everybody's favorite exercise to hate. And I just want to take a second to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, X Martial. X Martial is a growing combat sport brand that's dedicated to supporting the jiu-jitsu community by sponsoring kids, athletes, and creators like myself. They produce high quality gis, no-gis, spats, and even streetwear, everything you need to take your training to the next level. So whether you're cracking, slapping, tapping, or napping, you can look as good as me and probably even better by picking yourself up some high quality gear from X Martial. If you'd like to support me and my channel, you can click on the link in the description, use my discount code IRONWILL to save yourself some money, and go ahead and grab some high quality fun jiu-jitsu gear. All right, that's enough gum bumping. Let's get back to the video. Just like in the single leg burpees, we're getting a lot of core activation here. We will be hitting our glutes, our quads, our calves, our triceps, our shoulders, and our chest. And if you're doing this in a controlled manner, catching yourself on the way down, using your chest muscles to slow your descent to the pavement, you will be working on the explosiveness of all these muscles as well, which is really a giant cherry on top when it comes to jiu-jitsu performance. All the tips that I gave you for the single leg burpees apply here. You definitely want your hands to hit the pavement before your legs do, but because you have both legs in the equation, it is a bit easier to balance and it won't take such a toll on your core. For this one, I want you doing 3 sets of 12 reps. Finishing off with exercise number 5, keeping that heart rate high till the very end, deep mountain climbers. What I really like about this one is not only will it work on your stamina, and not only will it work on your chest, triceps, shoulders, core, and hip flexors, it's also going to work on your hip flexor flexibility. I know for a fact that some of you have had your guard passed by an upper belt and it felt like you're doing the splits in the worst way possible. That is tight hip flexors, and guess what? This is exactly what this works on, making deep mountain climbers an excellent exercise for mobility improvements as well. As you can see here, I've got a standard push-up position with my upper body, but as you watch my feet, my heels almost come all the way up to my hands. Now, if you don't have that much mobility and you can't get your heels up that high, don't stress it. You're probably a beginner. You probably haven't done this that much. As with anything, with practice, you will improve. If you're new to jiu-jitsu or you're just not that flexible, try to get that moving foot to the halfway point between your hands and your planted foot. As you continue your stretching routines, as you continue this exercise, as you continue your jiu-jitsu journey, you will improve your flexibility, and this will become something that you can do. You got to remember that I am a 3-stripe purple belt, so I have some decent hip flexibility, even though the rest of my body is about as flexible as a 2x4. I want you doing this one at 3 sets of 15 reps per foot. And you got to have a flex celebration when you finish up. I did this in 90-degree heat on the hot pavement after doing a workout, so I was pretty tired. Being successful in any fitness journey is all about celebrating the little wins. So if you completed that workout and it was a good workout, there's nothing wrong with giving yourself a pat on the back. Yeah, guys, that's the workout. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is really good to do if you missed a day of sparring. I mean, you can really combine episodes 1, 2, and 3 and make a 3-day rotation of these bodyweight exercises. You could train episode 1 on a Monday, episode 2 on a Wednesday, episode 3 on a Friday. These bodyweight workouts are also really good for those of you who don't feel confident enough or ready enough to be in a weight room, which is totally normal and totally fine, but you can use these to build muscle, burn fat in private to the point where you feel confident enough to go to the gym and get your lift lift on. Everyone always wants to know what the best workout is. Well, that's the one that you're willing to do for a long-term period of time. The best results come from consistency spread out over a long period. So if you're not getting into a gym because you don't feel comfortable, run these until you do feel comfortable, or just run these because it's convenient and it allows you to train consistently over a long-term period of time. Whatever you decide to do, just commit to it and be ready to do that for the long run, because that's where the best results are. And with that being said, guys, that's the video. As you know, we always have more athlete recipes, fitness, and jiu-jitsu content on the way. If you like what you saw, drop a comment. It helps this channel grow. I want to reach more people. I want to be a resource for as many people as possible. I want to help people get in shape. I want to help people get into jiu-jitsu, and I want to help people get better at jiu-jitsu. And as always, I appreciate all of you guys that drop your knowledge in the comments. Some of you blow me away with some of the stuff you know. So if you got something to add, or you disagree, or you agree, and you just want to say you liked it, I always appreciate your feedback, positive or negative. We're building a community here where we can all learn from each other, and that's a powerful thing. With that being said, you know how we like to end them. Eat plants, train hard, and feel good. See you in the next one.